Yep.
Hey, everybody, Team Wilpers, athlete spotlight time. I am honored to be here with Linda. Now it says Summer, but Linda Marie is on your Facebook page. What name are we going by?
Well, we can go by Linda Marie, but at the studio and on Peloton and on the leaderboard, everybody knows me as Lindy Lou.
Lindy Lou.
And
Oh, welcome. Thanks for joining me. What fun to sit down and talk with one of our athletes and top contributors. And man, you have so much going on. I can't wait to get into this. But could you just tell us real quick where you are and as much as you want to tell us in about 30 seconds, a quick
okay, well,
introduction?
I've never been in fitness until I hit my 60s, and I'm a grandmother, and struggled with my weight all my life. And one of my friends was saying, "You've got to try this Peloton. You've got to try this," and I did. And it's the same friend that would say, "You want to jump off a bridge?" and I'd say, "I'll lead the charge." So anything they said to do, I was doing, and they introduced me to Power Zone training, introduced me to Team Wilpers, and here we are. And I'm addicted. I mean, for lack of a better word, I just I go to the studios. I met the most incredible people through this group. In fact, one of your athlete spotlights, I met Christy.
Yeah, Christy.
I can't pronounce her last name.
Pay,
Paleo
pay, Paolillo.
Paolillo, and
You know what? I just watched the beginning of her spotlight just yesterday to show my wife, and we both practiced saying her last name. So, Christy, yes, we're trying.
yes, Christy, it was great. It was great standing in front of Peloton Studios with her at 0 dark 30, waiting for Matt's class, and it's been an incredible journey, and I've never been in better shape in my life until now.
Oh, that's amazing. Cool. I can't wait to hear more about it. But I just have to share what I asked you to sit down and talk with me just yesterday. So quick. Thank you for the quick turnaround and being responsive. But you said, okay, I'm just an old lady who found fitness late in life thinking you're not very unique. But I think we're going to find out that that's not really true. So
Well,
that's that's pretty funny. Now, so is it okay to tell whereabouts you live?
sure.
We were just
I'm a
talking we were just talking. Yeah, you're in Tenafly, New Jersey, which is really right across the Hudson River from where I used to live in New York City. And so I've ridden past there, and we were just talking about how Matt rides up 9W and the safety. But you do ride outside.
I ride outside, but I only ride on trails and ro roadways that are designated car free. Uh, Safety reasons. And I never ride alone for safety reasons, and it's been an incredible journey. Taking my For the first time doing a long ride at the drop of a hat. So there was a lot of riding on my indoor bike, and then purchasing a bike, which doesn't come cheap, and doing a 5 borough, with only a few weeks training, essentially.
That's so cool. But yeah, you've got the base fitness so that if somebody asks you to do something like that, how long is the 5 borough?
Well,
How many miles?
they say it's 45, but we clocked 56 miles that day,
Did you get
which
lost? A lot of people make a wrong turn or something in that one. I've talked to many people.
no, we didn't, and we did it with our little core team,
Uh
and
huh.
our core team is there's four of us women who kind of grew up together in Tenafly. We
That's so
call
cool.
ourselves the T-Fly Pillow Chicks, and yeah, and we ride together. We keep an open thread all day long because all our members do unique things. One of our team members, who's also Team Wilper's a running athlete, she just placed first in our age group on a 10K on Sunday. So we
Oh, that's
celebrate each
amazing.
other.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, that's so
yeah.
cool. That's so cool. So you have your little your gang of riders and runners who are hanging out there, but you guys have grew up together. So lifelong friends from Tenafly.
Lifelong friends from Tenafly, and we stop by each other's houses. We pretty much are open books to each other,
That's so
and
cool.
it's really nice to have that group of people that will support you, through the ups and downs. And that's also something that I found with the Team Wilpers cycling group is the support no matter what. If I succeed and I'm terrific, I can put it out there and I get the accolades. And if I fail miserably, I can also put it out there and not feel, discouraged. It's the support has been, inc- I mean, for lack of a better word, I'm saying it, incredible. It's just these people are, you guys are all amazing.
It's a pretty cool group of people, isn't it? And the community aspect of it. So you've got your smaller community, but then your virtual community here. And yeah, I think, man, I'm fascinated by it as well. And you're like incredible. And I think it is just fascinating how this is new to me. I'm used to one-on-one coaching and one-on-one training, and so now we've got 2,500 people in this Facebook group at this time, and everything has just been so positive. So uh, I love to give credit to the community aspect of training and how important it is. And I think for the support, let's not underestimate
Absolutely.
how important that is. And wow, it's great to enjoy.
It really has, it's helped overcome a lot of obstacles, the support. It's one of my challenges when I'm doing any of these rides is out of the saddle. Okay. It's like, yeah, my graph goes, it's almost, it's like my heart rate will go high when I'm out of the saddle. But somebody said to me last week, they said, don't worry about it. And I was like, that really resonated. It's,
Simple.
it's simple. It's so what? Who cares? It's not going to be an X against my name. So now this week I was riding, and every time I went out of the saddle, I closed my eyes and I remembered when I was a kid, I was fearless and riding my bike with the handlebars that were up here and the banana seat and the hair flying in the wind and just enjoying every minute of it. So out of the saddle has now brought me back to being a 10-year-old or, a kid in general. And just, I'm having fun with it.
Oh, that's awesome. You're making me want to go put clothespins, playing cards in the spokes,
Yes.
clothespin the cards and make the noise. Did you do
Yes.
that?
Yeah, of course. Did that had the streamers coming from the handlebars and
Yeah, that's so cool.
everything. Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing. What a good image to have while you're still cycling indoors. Well, so obstacles, you mentioned obstacles, and just from the little bit that I know you've got plenty. And you wrote to me in June in the
yeah.
middle of whatever plan we were in, and mentioned that you were having a shingles outbreak. And so how was that the first one? Have you had that
It was.
repeatedly? Usually, yeah.
I had never. Well, I think I what I did was I overstressed my body. I had done a 5K, and a week later I did the 5 borough bike tour, and then 3 weeks later I did another 5K, and all the while trying to do these training blocks and challenges, and my body just, was not happy with that, and was my first time with having shingles. Uh,
Yikes.
it was it, I was fortunate that I didn't get the blisters, but I did get the internal shingles. But the hardest thing was how it just took me down at the knees. I mean, it just knocked me for a loop. The exhaustion, I just had no strength.
Yeah.
I I couldn't I couldn't function, and I wasn't going to do any FTP, so I just dialed everything back a little bit. And we're 4 months later, and I'm still feeling the effects of it. No, I did not get a shingle shot like I should have. And hindsight's always 2020. So it's I would have done that, and the recovery from that is it's long, and it
Yeah.
really takes its toll on your body, your sleep, just every aspect of it. Just the fatigue, the strength. It just didn't have it, and so now I predicate every ride that I do. I do a 5-minute warm up ride, and that determines whether or not I can go forward. And I always
Smart.
have a plan A, B, and C. And like today's plan A was to do my 5 minute warm up and to do the Saturday ride. By the way, I love you, Matt, but I'm not doing the 120. I know my limits right now. Uh,
Good. Good.
yeah, but I was going to do my Saturday ride. Didn't sleep much last night. Sleep was evasive, so I was going to do plan B, which was going to be a 45-minute zone two ride. But then I said, you know what? I love the music on this classic rock ride. It's a 30-minute power zone endurance ride in zone three. I think it was 454, or maybe I have it mixed up. And it was perfect. The music just carried me through, and
Less. It was
that
30
was plan
minutes. So
C.
less,
And it
and
was
yeah,
30.
less strain on you, and maybe even stimulates your ability to recover, given that it's not so much. So you warmed up, and that's what you decided
Mm,
with. That's great. I mean, I think in recovery, the first thing you do is wake up in the morning and say, "How am I? How do I feel?"
yeah,
And
right.
and secondly, how does your family feel about you?
Yes, yes, that's always a
That
question too. And
right.
what hurts today,
Right. Oh, definitely. And pay attention to that. So, I mean, so shingles outbreak, and it sounds like maybe you were overstressed. You had family. You have family in Israel.
Yes,
Is everybody okay?
everybody's okay. They are spread out throughout Israel. I have a large percentage of my family there. My brother, his children, their wives, his grandchildren, um, and my nieces, nephews, and there's just a bunch of them there, and everybody is safe. Thank God.
Yeah, of
But
course.
we keep the thread open, and so the time difference does affect our sleep sometimes. You know, before this whole mess broke out, I'd silence it at night. Now we keep it open and on, so in case anything, we get a notification and we're up. So it's been challenging, uh, but there's such a this community around us is so strong. It's helped bring through. And
Yeah.
in fact, when I was at Peloton Studios 2 weeks ago, there was a few Team Wilpers members that we gathered, and they had family in Israel too, and we just kind of bonded together, and it's a beautiful thing how we're there for each other.
Again, the community aspect is so important, and it's hard to go through the tough things. And yeah, so best thoughts and
Thank you.
prayers for everyone in Israel, but for family, it's just I can't imagine. I can't
It's
imagine. So, I mean, just going down the list of obstacles that I know about, and I'm sure there are many more, but you're diabetic as well.
Yes, I am not insulin dependent, but I do take medication for it. And that's so interesting that because yesterday I know in the briefing, um, I take an injection every week and I take other medications. Um, but yesterday you spoke about nutrition, and there was a lot of comments I remember that people were mentioning about how they fuel for the rides. And it's one thing I noticed that how I eat and how I have to fuel myself going through these rides because a bonk is horrible, especially if you have blood sugar issues and if you are diabetic, because it's a total crash. It's you can't speak, you get confused, and you just don't know where you're at. And so
That's dangerous. It's
it
dangerous.
is dangerous, and it's happened. And I'm also of type A personality, so everything is very scheduled and regimented, and we are organized when we eat, what time we eat, how we eat, um, and that's part of uh, the whole system. And initially, we thought the diabetes was because I've had weight issues all my life, and it's always been a challenge, and I struggled with it. And diets fail.
Yeah.
Um, then I found Peloton. I found exercise. I found getting on a bike really fueled me mentally, and realized that maybe if I made some little changes with how I eat and read a little bit more about nutrition and how we're supposed to process foods, maybe that'll help. And I did. So I found that I needed more proteins. And it's interesting because somebody was saying yesterday's or commenting during yesterday's briefing about how they do it fasting. And it's when I ride when I'm at home, I ride fasting because I ate a little protein the night before, right before I go to bed. I have half a protein bar before I go to sleep. So when I get up in the morning, I am totally fueled on caffeine and I
Hmm.
get on my bike and I'm 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 on there 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and I get my
Yeah.
rides done. But then I
So
have to eat.
then you have to eat. And that's what I'm curious, or what we have very dynamic workouts. So this week coming up is a recovery week, and I kind of aim to make the recovery rides super easy. Zone 2, the PZE rides do go up into zone 3, maybe even the middle of zone 3, and I think that's harder than normal. And you do start to burn different fuels as the intensity goes up. So for the easier rides, I would think fasting makes sense. But I'm curious if you have an insight as to how you feel on a max ride fasted. And that's where I think sugar would help. They're not that long, they're 45 minutes, but if they were any longer, maybe we're kind of at the cutoff.
Right.
So do you have experience on that and thoughts?
Well, I always keep an If you saw me in person at the studios, I always have an emergency peanut butter sandwich in my bag.
Yeah.
Um, and I always have extra food. I'm the Jewish mother that comes into the studio. Do you need a banana? I've got extras.
Oh, I
Um,
need you at home. I need you.
so I have my snacks there. I tried the scratch gels and or gummies, and
Yep.
I did use them. Was it? I don't remember. It was one of the rides last week. Um, I used them before the ride because I felt I might need it, and then I ate a couple during the ride because I felt my sugar starting to drop, and I felt a little bit of a strain. But for the most part, when I'm riding home, it's a normal fast. And even today, when I kind of tipped almost into zone 4, I had no problems, but I eat right away afterwards, within 20 to 30 minutes after a ride.
Right.
And
Okay.
and I do a lot of protein and some carbohydrates, not as much, uh, but I around where I'm set up when I'm working out at home, there's snacks everywhere. You know, you can't
Perfect.
reach everywhere
Yes.
you can reach for a snack. Snacks
Good.
and
I love it.
tissues.
You- You're an athlete. You need snacks around. You need food. You need fuel
Yeah.
around. So, well, I'm curious. Did you do the max ride, the Power Zone, the Power Profile ride before this
Not yet.
started? Did Okay? So that tests your 5 seconds, your 1 minute, and your 5 minute. I would be really curious to see if you did that test and took that class as a test. I'm not saying you have to do this, but it's just my curiosity with diabetes and with fueling. If you do that test, which those intensities run on glucose, they are
Okay.
fueled by glucose. They are fueled anaerobically, which means you need glucose on hand. Now, we all have a certain amount of glucose ready to go, stored in our muscles and just in the environment and in our blood. Uh, to get into a ride like that, I would be curious if you took some gummies early on in that ride or right before the ride, and versus doing it fasted. And I would be curious if you noticed a difference and if the data were different for you. It's a
Hmm.
test for you.
That might be something I might have to try this
I think
weekend.
we're on to something. I think we're on to something. Now it does mean you have to do it twice, but maybe split it up a week apart. You're fit. You've been training, doing that ride back to back days. I think could be done if as long as you don't have so much stress and everything, you can recover from day to day. I would be curious how you felt fasted versus with fuel on board.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting try.
All
I'd like to
right,
see.
cool.
I'm actually questioning myself. I think one of the reasons I was wary of doing that and my FDP was because of the shingles, and I just didn't
Right,
want a
right.
relapse of that um, going forward. So that's, it's I'm afraid of a lot of things sometimes. As I get older, I get fear enters into my life a little bit
I
more.
said, yeah, but let's keep a smart approach to it, right? I don't want you to overdo anything. And then speaking of which, I'm not sure about this. So my next question is: were you Were you or are you doing both the PZP challenge and this program? You're doing both
Yes, so
schedules.
I did both schedules and I took the light version of both schedules.
Okay.
So I took the time crunch on the PZP challenge
Uh huh.
and I took the cycling challenge, cycling blocks,
Right.
training blocks, the light version, just so that I
Okay.
just didn't overstress my body. Because I also decided to buy myself the row because why not? You know, it's like who just take my money. You know?
What else are you gonna spend it on?
Exactly. No Christmas or Hanukkah for anybody this year. It's all
That's
about
right.
me.
No,
Uh,
yeah. Well, you know what? They get the gift of a healthy you. That's what they get.
that's it. And it's interesting because with the row, I've tapped into muscles that I didn't know I had. And I found that it's actually made me a little bit stronger, which I actually mentioned the other day in one of the threads that I was considering doing the FTP chest because I'm feeling stronger with this. I guess you can call it cross training using the row. My legs are feeling stronger, but I bought the row because I felt it would help my posture. It would help the other parts of my body just get in line with my legs.
I think it's a really good addition and keeping everything in balance, meaning not overdoing it and balancing recovery
Right.
and training. So, do you think you were at a point in June? It sounds like you were at a point where you were doing too much, given what's going on in your life. I mean, it's always a balance. Like I can't say to anybody, "Oh, 2 hours a day is too much," without knowing the rest of your story. So, do you think you were out of balance as far as training and recovery?
I think I'm back to where I should be, and I know going forward where I need to cut it off and w not to overdo it. And my teammates on the T-Fly Pellet Chicks, uh, one of our teammates just ruptured her Achilles and had to have
Oh,
yeah, she ruptured it, had surgery. She's 7 weeks out, and she's the one that actually introduced me to Parazone and to Team Wilpers. Um, eh, but I remember during the summer, we're sitting in the driveway, and her husband saying, um, "You girls are going to be, you're taking on too much." I'm like, "Oh, we're fine, we're fine." Now, mind you, I've known him all his life because we grew up down the street from each other. And we're like,
yeah.
"Everything's okay, we're all good."
Yes.
Next day, she's over at urgent care with a ruptured Achilles. And I think worse pain than the ruptured Achilles was her husband saying, "I told you so."
Oh, that's awful. No, bad
Yeah,
husband. Don't say that.
yeah. But
So I'm a trainer, a coach, everything. I know better than to tell my wife what to do.
yeah,
She has her own personal trainer. She goes to the trainer. She does her own thing. If she asks, I will offer my opinion. But
yeah.
being a coach who, and I've said it before, more of what I do is get people to pull back. And so, yes, I could just imagine telling somebody, you're doing too much. That would make me want to do more.
Right. But so our little group, we balance each other out and we try to like on Sunday when we had this past Sunday when there was the 10K, I was going to just run it just the 5K portion of it and not pass by the readers. And I was like, you know what? I can't. I'm not doing it. I pulled
Yeah,
back.
good.
I decided
Good.
not to, and which is something I didn't do last June or May and June. I was like, oh, it's out there. I'm going to do it instead of knowing my limitations. So
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So learning to know your limitations and learning to know and balance the training with recovery. And that's good. I mean, wanted to get into maybe more recovery techniques and specific things, but I would like to do a post on that throughout the week, and maybe you can contribute there. But what what about for me? If you have anything for me, you've got the coach here or
yes,
personal. I
I
mean, what
do.
you can go
Oh my
ahead. Yeah,
gosh.
please.
Yeah, so I've got so many questions. Well,
Oh boy.
along the lines of recovery and uh, coaching and what my teammates are telling me, rest days. Okay. When I started this journey, I made a commitment to myself that if I don't do this every single day, I'm going to fail. I feel like I'm going to fail. So my rest days, I still move because I lead a sedentary life with work. It's a work life balance, but for work, I'm at a desk all day long, and it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's 10, 11 hours a day. So when I look at the end of the day, my move, if I don't work out at all, I might have, you know, done 1,000 steps. That's
Right.
it. Um,
Right.
so, the question I have is, uh, when I'm on a rest day, I get on my bike anyway, and I turn the resistance down to 10, 15. I just flush my legs out. And I'm wondering, is that okay?
I think in general that is okay. Yes. Sometimes when you get overdone, and yes, you're sick, maybe you do need to rest and you need to let your immune system take over. If you are healthy and otherwise in a regular training plan and otherwise balanced, yeah, move. I can't sit still all day. Oh my gosh, that yeah, yeah. I think you're good, and that's a good time to get out and walk, or get on the rower, or do some other activities besides just the movement of cycling, because the movement of cycling is not very dynamic. It's not a whole. We move a lot of different directions that are not activated while on the bike, and so that's a good time to explore other range of motion things, yoga, strength training, but nothing to overstrain, nothing that leaves you needing to recover the next day, but just enough to kind of stimulate your recovery systems. So yes, the answer is yes. It's okay in general,
Okay,
unless you are like, if you don't want to, your body's probably telling you what you need.
right. For the most part, I actually want to.
Yeah.
There's something, I get it in my head, and I can't let go of it, and I want to just move my legs because it feels so good to flush them out and just get the blood circulating and without the tension of the muscles.
Oh, I
But
think so. Yeah, and it's so unstressful too, or stress relieving, because you don't have to have any hard intervals that are coming. There's nothing to stress about. It just, yeah, it feels good. I agree. I
uh,
agree. What else?
all right. So going forward, it's like, okay, I'm one of your older athletes, and it's always nice to be amongst younger people and everything, but we do have limitations. As we get older, our physiology changes. What can you recommend to your older athletes in so far as wanting to do things? We I know that next year I want to do the five borough again. It's just fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine riding along on the BQE and hearing somebody shout out your leaderboard name from behind you, and it's somebody
Oh,
you've
that's
met through
great. That's
it was
great.
it was wonderful. Uh, so that I want to train for that, and the Verrazano Bridge almost took me. It it was it was a
Because of
challenge.
the
So
incline, the
yeah,
incline of
going up.
going up it. Yeah, up and over. Yeah.
Yeah, I was I I couldn't. I almost couldn't, and I just need to know how I can.
So we need to get ready for that. I mean, you need to find some hills. Tenafly's got tons of hills. I used to go
Oh,
over there to train specifically for hills, and you just need to pick a distance and safely start working on them. There's nothing better than training for hills than doing hills. You can turn the resistance up on your Peloton and do some low cadence, more resistance intervals, zone 5 intervals, zone 4 intervals, kind of turn the resistance up and and get your cadence down lower. That'll help simulate the resistance, because that's what a hill is. There's more resistance.
okay.
But yeah, get outside and try it. And if, as that ride is approaching 8 weeks out, you can get out there once a week, outside bike, and get a 5 minute, a 6 minute hill climb, that you try it once, and then a week later you do it twice, and then a week later you do it 3 times, and then start over again, and that will bring you to five borough day, ready to crush it.
All right, and well, that's that's going to be exciting. I'm going to definitely going to be doing that
Oh, I
with
can't
help
wait.
again.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's going to be. I'll be posting about it, and just I look forward to it. But I'm also
Trying to
thinking,
think of the name of the road I used to go and do hill repeats on in Tenafly. I can't remember, but
well,
there's a few of them.
there's a good one that goes up through Alpine from through Cresskill and up that ways.
Uh huh.
It's Hillside Avenue. It's not.
Hillside Avenue is one of them. Yes, yes.
Yes, Hillside Avenues. It's a great one, and it brings you up to 9W. Um,
Yep.
the ride down is always a little treacherous. When we did the 5 borough last year, and my bike was going, I looked down and I saw my bike was going at 26 miles per hour. I got the grandma fear in me. I was like, oh my God,
Oh
slow
yeah.
down.
I used to brag and show people I hit 54 miles an hour on one of those hills. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah, yeah, right. So overcoming the fear is a challenge, and I don't know where I can get help with that, but that's I think within me and with my teammates. But I also,
Just keep it safe, though. Yeah, we don't need to break any records going downhill. Just keep that safe. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I, and one thing, I think one of the biggest questions I have is, well, I'm also thinking of doing the Fondo, maybe Lehigh Valley next year.
oh cool,
Um, but not the grand, but the smaller one, the 50 mile. Um,
perfect.
but I think that I use when I'm on my outdoor bike, um, I don't clip in.
Okay.
So how for me, and I know a few other people, transitioning to clipping in, and how what's the best way? What do we recommend? How do we do this? And how
Yeah,
many
sure.
skin knees am I going to have?
Hopefully none. Hopefully none. I've got
Please.
all the scars that most people do that come along with learning clip
Oh, I
in
think we
pedals, but
froze.
so the most important thing is get pedals and make sure they are set so that you can twist out of them easily. I've had numerous athletes who got into pedals and they just were set too stiff and they couldn't get their feet out. So you need to make sure somebody in the bike shop, somebody make sure they are set at the loosest setting.
Okay.
As you're getting started, make sure you practice. So get up against a wall, up against a tree, something else, and practice going in and out in a safe place where you can't tip out. And then it's just super important to remember when you come to a stop, get your foot out before your bike stops. So as you're coming to a stop sign, anytime to stop, get your foot out of the pedal beforehand, because if the bike stops and your foot's not out and it does get stuck, that's when you go over. So foot goes out and you come to a stop with your foot unclipped.
Got it. Got it.
So
Yeah.
three things. Get the pedals set loosely. Get the
Okay.
pedals set loose. Get a safe place to practice before you even ride them with walls and something to lean on. Get in, get out, get in, get out. Get a system for how you're going to get your feet in and practice. And then as you're coming to a stop in real life, foot comes out before you come to a stop. Those three things.
Foot. Foot out first.
Foot
You
out
know,
for
it's interesting. We've all learned how to ride bikes when we were kids, and sometimes it doesn't translate the same techniques that we learned as a kid don't necessarily translate well to riding as an adult and trying to do endurance rides or any sort of outdoor cycling that we use on our fancy bikes now. And what I found interesting was that when I started rowing, I came into it with nothing. Okay, there was nothing. I never rode before, and I was fortunate enough to be in one of Matt's premier row class with members, and he
nice.
spent a little bit. Yeah, it was really great, and he spent a little bit of time instructing me on how to do it. So it was the foundation that was laid was the techniques. I learned the techniques first, and then I was able to put him into practical use and get my speed up and get my pace up and my stroke up. And we don't have that when we're going into cycling as adults, when we're going into cycling for events like a Fondo or a five borough or any sort of race or any sort of long distancing. And there's got to be a way to get those old bad habits out and retrain
I
our
think
brains.
so for sure. Yeah. I mean, the fitters are awesome at talking to you about all of the technical stuffs and pedaling technique and getting the right shoes and getting the right pedals and getting them all set up right. And that's really the foundation is you need to be fit. You need to have your cleats placed properly on the shoes and your saddle placed properly on the bike and your handlebars set properly. So that's super important. And you need to practice getting in and out. And make sure you have the foundation of using the clip-in pedals because we don't want to fall, we don't want to have unnecessary injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hopefully that is a good answer for you and a good set
Yeah.
of at least three things to work on before you go on the Verrazano Bridge or to Lehigh in the Grand Fondo with clip-in pedals. But I think they are more efficient once you do learn how to use them.
How often do you think you should have a fitting? Now I've done a fit with Lori Lee, and
Oh,
it was
nice.
fabulous. I did that back in June, because what else am I going to do when I have shingles? But get a bike fit.
Perfect.
So
Yes.
yeah, use the
Yes.
time wisely. Um,
Yeah.
so I did my fitting then, and I've noticed some incredible changes, and but. Should we do it often? Should we have a regular bike fitting?
I think Lori mentioned that when in our talk, in that if there's a big change, or yes, every so often, if it's been 10, 15 years, you're clearly due for something else
Mm,
as our bodies change as time goes on. But if there's been a big change, if you've had an injury, if anything that's really been a change, otherwise, I think what she would recommend, I think they said every couple of years is probably fair game. But if you get a new bike, and your outdoor bike and your Peloton bike are set differently, I believe she said. So, you know, put it up there. I think she'll agree. Or when she watches this, I think she and Brian will agree. Every couple of years is probably a good idea if you can swing it.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely. And it's one thing I notice when I'm outdoors riding. After my bike fit with Lori, I stopped having some issues with my hands. I've got
Oh,
RA
great.
also on top of everything else. Um, so you get old. It's just like, what am I going to wake up with today? You spend more time at doctor's offices than you're out with your friends. Um, so my hand positioning helped a lot. Uh, but when I'm outdoors riding, my hands go numb. And I know Matt pointed on that once to move the hands around, but there's something, there's got to be more to it than just moving the hands around because if I'm moving my hands around too much, I'm not focusing on my pedaling. So what do you recommend?
Yeah, in switching from bike to bike, I don't know if it was the bikes or in switching from city living to suburban living and working with more power tools and stuff. I did end up with carpal tunnel in both wrists and did end up having the surgery for both wrists. And I fought it with everything. I thought I could fix it. I thought I could stretch. I thought I could strengthen and do whatever. And so I don't know what ultimately caused it. I do know that well, I don't know if the bike caused it. I do know that the proper fitting on your bike and the handlebars, if you have your weight distributed properly, that your hands should probably not go numb.
I guess
And
I'm getting a
a
bike
good
fitting.
a good bike fitter will be able to see that. So unfortunately, our Team Wilpers fitters can't do your road bike virtually. So it's better to get somebody in person, and there's plenty of choices there in New York, and I can recommend someone
Oh,
outside of here.
absolutely.
Or Brian even goes into New York from time to time, so maybe you could get with him when he's there.
That would be great because I like my bike. It took a lot to find a bike. I'm small, so standing under 5 feet tall, it's a challenge to get the right size bike when you are you're short.
Yeah, totally. And you're not alone with that too. And the fitters have mentioned that the sizing is great. So I'm glad you did have it. So listen, Linda, I do want to wrap things up a little bit, but I have one more question for you. What are you most proud of in all of your training? I mean, you started kind of late in life and you're overcoming all of the obstacles, and just what are you going to wake up with next? You're going to wake up with more health and higher fitness. That's what you're going to wake up. I think that's what you're working towards. But
Yes.
what are you really proud of? What do you want?
Oh gosh, you know what? I have to say I'm proud of my teammates, my T-Fly Pellow chicks, and what they have brought to me and given me in showing me this lifestyle that's so achievable for anybody. Um, I've lost a boatload of weight. I'm almost half the size I used to be,
Really?
and
Wow, that's awesome.
and it's been almost a 3 year journey, and it's stayed off. And one thing I've recognized is that one like I said before, diets don't work. You have to change your lifestyle. One bad meal is not going to ruin you, and just enjoy, have a great time doing whatever it is you want to do. And I'm loving it. I'm loving every second of it. I'm loving the fact that if I can do if I ride the greenway from lower Manhattan to George Washington Bridge and we come back, there's a little donut shop down in the West Village that we can go and splurge on a donut with, and it's not going to ruin me. So what am I most proud of? I'm most proud of my team and being able to do a 5 borough and say that I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to do this, and I will do it.
Oh, that's so awesome. What a good feeling, right? Such a good
Yeah.
feeling of confidence and strength and health and fitness. And sorry, Linda, you are you are not just an old lady who found fitness late in life. You're an athlete. Look at you, treating yourself like an athlete and feeling good and confident and accomplished like an athlete. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank
But
you.
what a pleasure. This is
Oh,
great.
and thank you for taking the time and wanting to speak with me. I hope I hope it's helps somebody else, or just gives anybody else the confidence to get things done, because you one one other thing I learned is that you're never too old. You
Never.
know, you're never too
Never.
old.
Nope. There's always something.
And do yoga. Yoga is great for stretching.
Oh, yes. Teresa will love you for that.
It's
Linda,
oh, it's
thank you so
a
much. It's
pleasure.
amazing. Yeah.
Uh,
Reach out anytime. I'm going to hit stop here.
okay.